Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, YouTubers. This is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon. Another interim video here before I get started on a couple of new phases in my channel, shall we say, on my channel, shall we say. Going to start doing more just exposition of the scripture, kind of focus on a weekly, Shabbat studies. And that being the case, some of the things that we'll deal with, I want to just touch on a few things here. Getting into Genesis, there will be dealt with because of the creation account. The first thing we encounter is biblical cosmology. So I've done a few videos on that recently. Not trying to solve the entire situation, obviously. It's very complex and yet very simple. So this covers the 100, I believe it's 179 miles that the Mississippi River flows through the state of Louisiana. Louisiana did a map. They spent $18 million to put this together. I believe it covers 10,000 square feet. It's precise down to millimeters. And from the time that the Mississippi River enters Louisiana to the time it exits Louisiana into the Gulf is a change of, 100 feet altitude. So, where's the curvature? Where? As one guy says. All right. So, another thing, if you look at the cross-section of the Great Lakes, from the time water comes into, or, follow it out to the Atlantic, the St. Lawrence Seaway, from the time it goes into the Great Lakes to the time it goes out of the Great Lakes, you have various changes in altitude because of waterfalls, etc. But there's not very much change, even though it's several hundred miles. So, again, you just got to wrap your head around that. Where's the curvature? So, now, I brought this up I'm going to recap here real quick. That was my recap. And then I want to go to some screenshots of a discussion. And you can go to that video and look at it, read it, what's written there. So, to sum it up, I'm not even going to try to sum up some of the arguments, because this one guy brings up a thing of the flat earth map stretches over 25,000 miles. And so if you wanted to go from the tip of, let's say, South America to the tip of South Africa or Australia, Sydney, Australia, you're traveling 25,000 miles. That doesn't happen on the globe. The greatest distance on a globe is 12,500 miles. Well, maybe yes and maybe no. You don't know, and you can't prove anything, as far as I'm concerned. So I have questions for him, and I hope he basically, it was really nice, because he said, let's just agree to disagree, and it's been nice talking with you. And then I asked him a couple extra questions that I think he'll probably respond to, because I was actually finally addressing his actual question, which is the 25,000 versus 12,500 mile distance. So, but there's some things that they do not consider. They never consider all of the facts. So I think it might be interesting if he sticks with it and hangs in there and tells me, answers a few questions, and I'm going to point out a few salient facts to him. All right. So, but overall, this is just kind of a summary of a lot of the facts about this question. So, and again, it's up to you. It's up to everyone. When I first got into this, I was very into it. Lived it, breathed it, ate it, drank it, slept it for 6 months or better. And I was very glad, as I said before, I'm very glad I didn't run into it when I had free internet and was sitting around doing nothing at the house, because I probably would have died. Literally, I would have starved to death. and not slept and, you know, been not eaten anything, not drank any water, and there'd be a skeleton there with cobwebs, you know, hanging from my hand to the computer. Anyway, so this is just a summary of this issue as I see it, okay? This is from that video that I just showed you with the about the map. So look up that video. I'll put a link down below when I find it. So here's my statement. Start and stay with the most basic facts. We don't need to talk about the stars. We don't need to talk about maps. Fact of the matter is, they don't have a map either. There's about 200 different maps of the Earth. Seriously. You can look them up. Which one's right? All the globes, Rob Skiba points out, you go to a store, you buy a globe at Target. There's a guy, Kent Holbein said, go to Walmart and you can pick up one of my little globes here. Go get one of your little balls, Kent. And on the bottom it says, these are not meant for educational purposes. You know, they're stating on it, probably to prevent lawsuits later on, that there's nothing really accurate or real about it. All right, so I'll try not to talk anymore. You speak of something that does not exist, the flat Earth map, quote unquote. Let us restrict ourselves to observable facts and repeatable experiments and the literal mountains of evidence which have been accumulated over not only the last 3 years, but dating back to the very first forays by man into the stratosphere and low Earth orbit, i.e. I'm speaking of the 1931 ascent by August Piccard, who said, quote unquote, the Earth appeared as a flat disk with upturned edges. All right, which is exactly what it says in the book of Job. Wax seal, flat Earth, upturned edges. The first film of Earth in 1946, I believe, from a V-2 rocket to NASA's extensive untampered footage of faked pictures of Earth from the moon. The faked film of Earth from low Earth orbit, which was supposedly from halfway to the moon. You can watch the BBC documentary. The film of them actually doing that picture was leaked out, and it is out there forever for everyone on Earth to watch. They blacked out the window, they blacked out the lights, they covered part of the window and made it look as it was just part of the Earth. You can't see any continents on it, any land masses. It was just a blob, part of the Earth made by the roundness of the window and a piece of cardboard. So it was not from halfway to the moon, it's from low Earth orbit. Okay, to the from the red bullshit hoax, Felix Baumgartner with the strut holding the exterior light curving at the exact same arc as the New Mexico-sized Earth below. You can see yeah, there's curvature, but it's only New Mexico. It's such an extreme curvature that it's nowhere near as big as the moon is what you see because of a GoPro lens. It bends the horizon. But when corrected with GoPro software, they are both laser line straight. Then you have the ISS cartoons complete with bubbles and flies in space, the hundreds of hours of vintage war footage from several wars from numerous nations, all showing flat horizons. Then on to recent video proofs, all posted online, of laser tests across impossible distances on a globe, photos of places 273 miles away. That's the longest standing photo of anything, 273 miles, which means if you can see something at 273 miles in one direction, you can see it in 273 miles the other direction, and the Earth is flat over a span of 500 plus miles. Where's the curvature? There is none. High altitude balloon footage complete with telemetry data provided free of charge for all the world to view 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year at our own expense, civilian expense, mind you. Meanwhile, telemetry data that NASA, with its trillions of dollars in hidden monies, cannot provide for its own missions, the moon, quote-unquote, missions, or their bogus Orion space, quote-unquote, capsule re-entry launched from a high-altitude balloon. Watch the footage. You can see that's true, etc., 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 ad infinitum, ad nauseum, as in, let's just puke and get it over with. And all of these repeatable, verifiable, documented mountains of evidence clearly, plainly, incontrovertibly prove that there exists nowhere on the entire surface of this plane called Earth any curvature of any kind, unless affected by winds, etc. Water is level, period. The water in a glass is level, 5-gallon pail, level, 55-gallon drum, level, pool, pond, lake, canal, or ocean is level. By the way, the Suez Canal is 100 miles long and it is level. You can watch a ship at high speed going through that canal. It's level the entire way. No curvature. It should be, what would that make it, 100 times 100 times, it's the magic 6.66 degrees. No, let me see. Pretty simple, but I'll just do it real quick for you. Take 100 miles times 100 miles. 10,000 times 0.666, or I could multiply it times 8 inches per mile and then divide by 12. We'll just divide 8 by 12, gives you 666, so that's your factor. 0.666 equals 6,660 feet of missing curvature. So it doesn't exist. That's the Suez Canal. All right. Sorry. 70. Now, this is interesting. This is something that nobody hardly brings up. I don't know why. 70% of the Earth's surface is water. Water is level. Now, here's the kicker. And then I believe this is one reason why we went to space. Seriously, think about this. All right. 50 to 70, it varies, 50 to 70% or so of the huge area of the floor of the ocean is, guess what? Flat as glass. Look at a topological map of the ocean floor. You can do it on your globe on Google Earth. Pull up Google Earth, which is a globe, put your cursor on the ocean floor, read the altitude. Okay, it's flat. It's flatter than a pancake, flatter than Kansas, Delaware, Illinois, even Florida. I think Florida is the flattest state. Etc. From Alaska to Antarctica, a span of thousands of miles is, guess what? Do it yourself, run the cursor slowly from Alaska to Antarctica, right, say 100 different altitudes down between North America and South America, over to Eastern Asia. There are a lot of typos here. Average amount, acreage amount, average amount. Explain how that, a flat ocean floor over a distance of, over a span of 6,000 or so miles, with a flat ocean surface above it, over a flat ocean floor, can somehow be construed to magically make a magic ball. Mystically make a magic ball drifting aimlessly through space. So if the Earth ocean floors are flat beneath the flat ocean surface, do you think that I am concerned about exactly what the map looks like? No, I'm not. He inscribed a circle upon the face of the deep at the boundary between light and darkness. In other words, between the survivable reaches of the sun and the frigid, deadly temperatures beyond the possible ice wall of Antarctica, in reality, possibly a 2-mile-high icy world's end, if we are to believe the accuracy of the maps provided for us by the map maker of the world, the United States Geological Survey. Antarctica averages, mind you, 10,000 feet altitude. Look it up. It's red on the map. Red is the highest topological setting on their scales. The Himalayas are barely visible. The Andes, the Rockies are all barely visible. Antarctica stands out like a sore thumb because it is bright red. Average altitude 10,000 feet. Guess what? 10,000 feet is basically 2 miles. Not talking 200 feet ice wall, you're talking a 10,000 foot icy wall of a barrier. And that's the average. Much of it is much higher, domes, i.e. peaks at 13,000 feet. So why would you, or for that matter, men who masquerade as scholars and who claim to be creationists and biblicists, such as Kent, Dr. Har, Dino Hovind, or Ken Ark Misadventure Ham. And I just don't have a lot of respect for those men anymore because they're being incredibly dishonest. And one guy said he says we really should, he feels and really feels for Kent Hovind because he's been through a lot. Yeah, he was in prison, and Ken Ham may be facing prison before his Ark adventure is all over. It's over for them guys, you know. Their careers, their lives are just, what are they worth? They're denying Scripture. They're telling God that He's a liar, and that the book of Genesis, answers are not in Genesis. They're flat out stating that what Genesis says is bullshit. What God said in the book of Genesis is not accurate scientifically. That we now know better. Yeah, I'm sorry to say, you people have been fooled, and you are fools. Okay, so why would you demand of us a working model which you cannot provide yourselves for the unprovable, asininely, impossibly bad physics fantasy that you all profess to believe in, but refuse to prevent a shred of proof of? When you yourself cannot show us a reliable map and cannot present to the world a single photographic or video proof of curvature. You cannot do so, you will not do so, you lose, ball is in your court and has been now for 3 years. Give us evidence of curvature. If you do so, game over, you win. You cannot. Okay? You cannot do so, you will not do so, you lose, ball is in your court, has been for 3 years now. Give us evidence of curvature. You do that, game over, you win. But you can't, you lose, period, no curve, no ball. And that's that simple. It really is that simple. You know, I don't want to get sucked into what about this and what about that, what about the stars? You know what, you can take a glass bowl, put a LED light in it, and see sundogs. You can put a little disco ball under there and turn it, and guess what? The stars counter-rotate. Hello. You know, what about the southern pole star? What about the southern stars? What about the fact that they go opposite direction from the... Well, duh. You got a dome, put a ball in there, one single ball, and guess what? You have, like I said, double rotating circles of light going in opposite directions. Pretty simple, really. And it's none of your business, and it's none of my business how it works. I don't need to know. I need to know that what it says in Scripture is right. As Spurgeon said, defend the Bible. I'd just as soon defend a lion. No, doesn't need defense. If man says that science disagrees with the Bible, then the Bible's wrong. I mean, the man is wrong. You know, the Bible's correct, man is wrong. Let God be true and every man a liar. So, science disagrees with the Bible, it's wrong. You know, and in this case, in the question of the earth and the cosmology of it, it's not the fact that the ancient Hebrews were stupid and didn't know how to describe things. No, they were right. They knew they were right. There was a lot of wisdom back in those days and a lot more scientific intelligence than there is today, because virtually every single ancient culture had the same exact understanding, not exact, but you know, the same understanding of a solid, non-rotating, immovable earth with a dome over it. That it was an enclosed realm. So, all right. That's it. Thank you. Goodbye. Good night.